What's if someone's saying, no, I don't want, why do you need to know all this information about me? I don't need to, you don't need to know about me.
Look, we take applicants from hundreds of people. We have to get, whether you're a doctor or you're on Social Security, we have to get the same information in the same manner and treat everybody the same. Otherwise, we can get in trouble. Do you have a problem with that? Yes. Well, then we can't do business with you. What did you not understand about that? I'm just telling you, we want to treat everybody equally, and you're telling me you have a problem with that. Do I really want you as a tenant? Because you sound like you're crazy.
And in a way, you are protecting both parties in this. You're protecting yourself and the tenant, because you have to start with a good working relationship and that kind of. Okay.
Yeah. Here's a good one. I mean, I don't know if my property managers use this or not, but so let's say I'm putting somebody in a 10-unit building, and let's reverse it and say, okay, Mr. Tenant, so you don't want me to ask you these questions. Let me ask you this: if your mother lived in this building, and I just decided to put some serial rapist or a child pedophile or a serious drug dealer in that building, would you be happy with me?
Mm-hmm. And their moods change.
And if they say
quick.
yes, then you're dealing with somebody who's completely irrational. Exactly. Most people say, well, yeah, I understand. That makes sense. Yeah. If they say that makes sense, they say, okay, then they're a reasonable person. I get it.
So what really, and thank you for that. The reason why I asked that was to prove that, 90%, and I hate to keep using the 90% thing, but 90% of the people are going to understand why we're doing these background checks. The 10% that might not, the 1 out of every 10, you probably don't want to do business with.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, going back to the guy that said we discriminated against him, his credit score was deplorable. He told us he was getting evicted. His income was super low, and yet he turned in us to this discrimination bureau they get these government agency gets paid to do this, and they're actually spending a lot of time and effort researching all this data when we've caught him in lies via emails and texts. Man. It's insane.
It's too much.
It's insane. So you have to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure you're treating everybody fairly, which we do. We do the best we can at it. But that's all part of the leasing process. That's why you pay us as high as the first month's rent to find a new tenant for you, because there's a lot of these pitfalls. Now, is our process perfect? No, this is not rocket science. This is not where if you do the correct math and the trajectories and the graphs and charts that everything's going to work out and you're going to get to the moon. It's not going to work out that way because it's not science. We do the best we can, but we get people that lie. They maybe look great on paper. And then they move in their drug-dealing boyfriend with the 3 pit bulls. Then here's what I get. Whoa, Alex, you're the property manager. Get rid of them. Okay, that's real easy to do. I have to go through the due process, bro. Right. I got to go through the due process to get rid of that drug-dealing boyfriend and the 3 dogs. And let me tell you what. They can not pay the rent, and then they can appeal it, and they can stay in your property for 4 or 6 months, destroy the house, then you get rid of them, and you go after them, and what are you going to get? You go after this lady who was... you're not going to ever recoup that money. Yep. So that's the part of landlording where if your expectations are way up here and reality is here, we can't help you. Right. And I don't want you as a client because I don't want to let you down. Because I got to tell you, this is not a perfect world. Being a landlord is very difficult. Managing is very difficult.
There's a lot of gray areas.
We do the best we can to circumvent putting a bad tenant in there, but sometimes it just happens. Yeah. So typically in a better area, higher average household income, higher rents, you have less problems than in a lower income, low household rent and high crime area. That's just a fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I own a lot of properties in lower income areas, and I own a couple in some high income areas, and it's just you deal with what you deal with. You have to know what you're getting involved with. So we talked about marketing. We talked about showing the properties. We talked about screening the tenants. Once we get the tenants screened and I approve them, then we send it over to the owner. The owner gives us their final approval. A lot of times I'll get approvals with stipulations like, okay, this tenant's income was a little bit low, but their credit score was high. I would suggest we rent to them with a co-signer. Or I would suggest we rent to them with a double security deposit. Or if they have a pet, do you allow pets? Yes or no? If you do allow pets, we'll show to people who have pets. Pet can't be like a dog that's And it's a shame because like pit bulls, and they're not bad dogs, it's bad owners.
Absolutely.
But
I totally
a
agree.
lot of insurance companies will be like, hey, you know what, if you got a pit bull in there, we're not going to cover you. If that pit bull bites somebody, you're not covered. So it's unfortunate, but
love your pets.
we do rent to dogs, people with dogs and people with cats and stuff like that, but we'll typically want a half a month to a full month's rent pet deposit.
Yeah.
So they not only they're putting down 1 month's rent security deposit, but another month's rent or half a month's rent for the pet, which is totally refundable when they move out, as long as the place is left in its condition that they took it in. And then finally, we get them to come into the office. Now, first, let me step back. We don't hold the apartment for them. Once they're approved, we're not going to hold the apartment unless they get us a non-refundable security deposit, certified check or money order. That check comes in, certified check, money order. We hold the apartment for them. 2 weeks later, they call and say, hey, we're not taking it. Well, then we're keeping your deposit. Why would you do that? Because we explained it to you up front. It's on the application, and we just took this off the market for 2 weeks. So you essentially cost my landlord a month.
Right.
He's not going to rent it for in the middle of March now. So they give us a security deposit, and then on move-in date, they have to show us that they have insurance. That's renter's insurance. They have to show us they have the utility switched in their name, and they have to have the first month's rent ready in a certified check or money order. Then they can move in. We hand them the key. Never let anybody in. Never put them on. We never put people on a payment plan for security deposits. Oh, I can't afford the security deposit. I can make payments on it. That's a sign right there. You shouldn't be renting to them.
Right. Or at least maybe not what they were looking to get. Maybe, you know what I mean, at that rate.
It's something less. So that's what, on the property management side of things, is only some of what a landlord or a property management company should do and does do to find a new tenant.
Ooh.
Shoo! Wow.
It is extensive, isn't it?
Man, it's a lot. It is so much more than what most people realize. And
I think, but you know what though? I think anybody with common sense or with any sort of reasonable, rational thinking would understand why. Mm-hmm. And I think everything we covered today, it might have seemed maybe somewhat harsh to some people, maybe, but I don't think anybody listening to this, because I think this is very honest, real things that we talked about today that just, as far as, especially with background checks, people get very weird about that, about, I don't know, why do you have to know about this and this? Well, because you're going to be living in my property. That's mm-hmm. why, and I think that's something
here's how I'll diffuse that. If somebody says, well, I'm like, oh, just stop for a second. Let me explain this to you. I just did this yesterday to a nice girl that sat in front of me. She moved in I bought a building and she hadn't paid rent for like 5 months. I'm like, what is going on here? I told her, I said, look, it's not that I don't trust you. I just been kicked so many times that I don't trust anybody. I've been lied to by little old ladies, no lie. I've been lied to by little single women with a child. I've been lied to by big grown men. Yeah. I've been lied to by preachers and pastors of churches. I've been lied to by accountants and doctors, and you name it, that we've been lied to. And sometimes these are big lies, right? That they're really unfortunate. Yeah. If you get lied to enough times, you don't trust anybody.
Right.
So show me, lead by example, tenant, and I will take care of you. We will work with you. We're a fair company. But just don't lie to me. And unfortunately, because of the past and how many times I've been taken advantage of, I can't trust you. Right. And most people understand that. Oh, I understand. Now I get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not that I don't trust you.
It's just you have to understand how
you're probably different.
Yeah.
But everybody else, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And most people understand that and they get it.
Typically, I think when you do explain it better, and this segues into the world, when you actually sit down and have a face-to-face conversation with someone, it makes it so much easier than just, and I think that's probably that helped that out too. But like I said, anybody with a sensible, I hope everybody took something away from this. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Alex? How did you do today? Rate yourself today.
I think we could cover so much more on this, but we will overlap and on the next session maybe discuss the eviction process and how to work with tenants who are behind on the rent, because we can go into that too, because that's a large part of like just what a property manager does, or what a landlord should do, and what some tips and pointers of that they can use. But I thought we did pretty good. It's just there's so much to tell, and there's so little time, and this is just kind of like dipping your toe in what it takes to find a tenant. And
we like to give you guys a little short burst. Generally, 15 to 30 minutes is about all we know you guys probably want us for. So that's fair.
It's time. It's spaghetti time.
It's spaghetti time.
We're gonna have some lunch.
All right. So not a spaghetti time is kicked in, ladies and gentlemen. I am sorry, but now it's time to go.
We gotta go.
So for the great Alex Deacon, the Deacon of Real Estate, for everyone at DHRE and Mace Property Management, I am Adam. We thank you so much for listening in. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. Find us on the interwebs. Leave us some comments. Let us know if there's any topics you want us to talk about. Get in touch with us. Communicate, guys. That's why we have this open avenue. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.